Live from Toronto, Raboisai. Show some love. It's not evening. It's morning in Eretz Yisrael. This is what we do. You ready? Good morning, Raboisai. Oh, Otazoi. Live from Toronto. It's unbelievable. Last time I was here, I was in AJ's house. A little bit of a smaller crowd. Baruch Hashem. We have a nice tzibur that does the daf with us every day. And there are a lot of people that are curious about the daf. I'm going to speak to you a little bit about what Daf Yomi is. First of all, I want to say, Yishkoyach to Rabbi Shiner, Yishkoyach to the Koilel. If you're following, we have a satellite location here in the Koilel, right? Upstairs, right over there. Thursday nights, every Thursday. Bezer Hashem, it's going to be every day. So, 7 years ago, approximately, we had a little bit of an issue. We were transmitting the shir live on YouTube, and some shik in Australia, I think it was, went with some sort of video device, and he streamed live. He started shooting people. So YouTube said, okay, no more streaming live unless you have 1,000 followers. The problem was that we only had 200 followers then. Today we have over 33,000. But back then we had 200. And I made it a thing that we have to get 1,000 followers. We have to keep on streaming live. So I walk into one of the stores in Bet Shemesh, and I bump into a Yid, and I say, I don't know who you are, but I give a shir. It would be nice if you're able to subscribe to YouTube. And make it a little lower, please. Thank you. Like it was before, it's better. Who's in charge of that? Oh, thank you. And he subscribed, but he was curious to see what the shir was. So he went on, and from that day on, he hasn't missed a day. It's over 7 years. His name is Meir Planka. And he became our ambassador here in Toronto, together with Aryeh Blau. We have now the new generation. We have Jamie Azulai. We have a new superstar. If you don't know him, you'll get to know him. Tzvi Pinzel. You know about the guy? So we have a thing. We go around. We ask people to get more people to learn Torah. People have great experiences through the shir, life-changing experiences. Every single person that started the shir and has been doing it for a few weeks feels a difference in their life in many different areas. And Tzvi has a big following, over 37,000 followers on his status. So he said he's gonna try to get 100 people to join for Menachos, and he got so far over 65 people. That's one person bringing 65 people to Torah. So help him out. Send people to his status, and Bezer Hashem, he'll get to the 100 soon. When we started Masechta, even though those of you who were with us for a while, you know this basically inside out, there's a lot of new people. There's over 1,000 Hebrew speakers that are starting today the new Masechta, and in English, I think it's more than that. We have a brand new Gemara that we came out ourselves. So I see some people have it here in the front. It's a new Pirush, brand new, where it's crystal clear, easy to read, pshat, no notes. You get everything on the top. Every daf has a QR code which will bring you, once the shir is uploaded, it will bring you straight to the shir, straight to the charts and the AI. In the back of the Gemara, there's a lot of charts, the Menachos, and all sorts of different charts. Calendar, so you can keep track where you are. shows you the 30 different satellite locations in Eretz Yisrael and another 30 around the world. So if you're traveling, you know where to go. V'chulu, v'chulu. I'd like to speak to you about some of the negatives of Daf Yomi. These are the Yetzer Haras. When I bring them up, it might ring a bell, and you realize that it's Yetzer Hara. It's the Yetzer Hara speaking, because the positives are so powerful that it must be the Yetzer Hara. So the number one thing is people say it's too fast. So how's it possible to learn a daf a day and retain it? That's basically I can't retain also. And I'm here to tell you that the first yeshiva ever, first yeshiva in the world, in the latest kufa, I don't mean in the time of the Tanaim, but what's the first yeshiva? Rabbi, anybody know the first yeshiva? Volozhin. What pace did they learn in Volozhin? Does anybody know? A daf a day. Daf a day. Oh, but then, 200 years ago, they were geniuses. They were a whole different, that's what my Rosh used to tell us. They said, the guys from the war, they were geniuses. I knew a bunch of guys that went through the war. Dumber than doorknobs, some of them. But it's true. It's very, very fast. And it's hard to retain. But I'll tell you this. The musagim in Shas and in Torah that you pick up are unbelievable. And here's the big one. We all went to yeshiva. Most of us went to yeshiva. And in yeshiva we learned biyun. And I learned in many very chashiv yeshivas. I went to Panovich, I went to Pesach, and I learned in Koil for 6 years biyun. I'm a iyun guy. Iyun is probably the best way to learn. The thing is that Balabatim, they go to work, and they don't learn iyun. So what happens is, later on they come to the shir, and I hear from them, I haven't opened up a sefer. A guy tells me, I only learn biyun. Happens to be I haven't learned in 15 years. But when I learn biyun. And that's the problem. It's not even a joke. It's emes. I'm telling you it's emes. When you're a balabas, you're not going to be learning iyun. Forget about it. You try, and I tried. You get a chavrusa, and it lasts for a day, and it only lasts for a week, and then the chavrusa has a chasana, and then you have a bar mitzvah, and then you don't feel well, and bekitza, you're learning 2 days out of the week, and that's not learning. You learn biyun, shmak, but you didn't learn. You didn't learn every day of the week. So for a balabas, the only way that I know that works is Daf Yomi. It's the most consistent program out there, and that consistency of learning Torah every day is nothing like it. Another problem is a lot of people say, well, I tried Daf Yomi, I started brachas, and by this I already fell off, and I tried it again. Very true. So, that's why I have the saying, it's not about the daf, it's about the yomi. It's not about the daf, it's about the yomi means that you have to understand that the biggest mitzvah that we have is Talmud Torah. It's learning Torah. And most of us here, we wear tefillin every day. I ask people, do you wear tefillin? Vada, I wear tefillin, of course. You got to wear tefillin. Do you learn every day? And a lot of people have no busha to say no. But they'll never say it on tefillin. I don't learn 5 days a week. What's pshat? But it's much more chashiv to learn Torah than to wear tefillin. How do I know? Because you say it every day. V'talmud Torah connected to kulam. You put all the mitzvahs on one scale, on one side of the scale. You put the lulav, esrig, everything on one side, and tefillin. You put Talmud Torah on the other side. Talmud Torah weighs it down. Connected kulam. So how is it possible that a yid goes by a whole day without learning Torah? He goes on a vacation. He goes on a business trip. He doesn't bring a Gemara with him. He doesn't learn a Jewish word. He wears his tefillin for 5 minutes, halavai, but not, he doesn't open up a Gemara. What's pshat? So there comes Daf Yomi. It creates a situation where you don't have a choice. I'll tell you a Maisa Shahaya that happened yesterday. We had a Shabbaton in Stamford, Connecticut. Unbelievable. I could talk about it for hours. But one thing I want to tell you. On Shabbos, people didn't learn Torah. Why? They got up, 3.5 hour davening, chazanas and fregnished. Special chazan flew in from Australia, Delfarkas, and the Shira choir. It was crazy. Speech, Yol Gold. He gave me in the middle of the speech, he brought a Ketairis. They found Ketairis in Kuman. And somebody offered him $250,000 for the Ketairis. It was tested. It has 11 samamonim. Goyim tested it. It has mamish. It fits everything in the tzaddik heitev. They found it in a cave. They showed it to Rabbi Vad Yosef, and he said, it doesn't have the kedusha of Ketairis because it wasn't put in a klishars because it's found, but it's Ketairis. So the guy offered him $250,000, and I'm thinking to myself, while he's speaking, he's showing the Ketairis. He has a whole thing coming out in Tisha B'Av about it, how they found it. That it took 30 years to find. They dug for 30 years, and they found it. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I do a lot of props, hand-on props. It would be so beautiful to have something like that. But then he said $250,000. I said, forget it, it's never going to happen. And as he's speaking, he says, but I want to give it to Eli Stefansky because I'm giving it to Klai Yisrael. I'm not giving it to an individual. And he gave it to me in front of everybody. I started crying on the spot. It was one surprise after another. They bought me an Aliyah. Listen to this. Close your ears for a second. They bought me an Aliyah. They put together money for my Aliyah. Guess how much? $180,000, but not Canadian, US dollars. The Kitzer, we're sitting and we're one speech to the other speech, Rabbi Ben Shushan and Rav Goldwasser, and then the meal, and then Nochamola speech, and then this, that. Mincha, Shal Shudas, Ari Chaimowitz, panel. Crying kid, the kid comes up, 11 years old. He's dyslexic. He hates learning. He found the shir. He loves learning now. 11 years old, beautiful speech. And this guy was suicidal, and he saved his life. Kitzer, a whole zach. And then the Melava Malka. Melava Malka is shir at night in English. Melava Malka. Melava Malka starts at 8 o'clock, goes until 2:30 a.m. Hundreds of people dancing and dancing till 2:30 a.m. For the Shabbos, there was 1,100 people. For the Melava Malka, 1,300, I think it was. I'm talking about people just dancing and crying, nonstop, crying. It's emotional. 2:30 we finish. We leave. And I tell some guys I'm going to have to give a shir. 2:30 in the morning. I didn't do the Hebrew yet. 60 people show up to the shir. 3:45 in the morning, we finish the shir. I'm going to tell you right now, Ramey Stern is not going to be happy with me in Passaic, but nobody would show up or nobody would care if they were learning Eon. It's because you have this commitment of doing a daily daf that people said, okay, we didn't do it. We're going to come and we're going to sit down. Yeah, we're tired. There is no stopping the Daf Yomi. There's no day of vacation. 365, we learn on Yom Kippur, we learn on Erev Yontif, on Pesach, Erev Pesach, Tisha B'Av, night. There's not a single day that goes by. Whereas when I used to learn Eon, I know for myself, and I'm not putting down Eon, I said, Eon is the way to learn. When you have the day to learn, you're committed. But when you're a balabas, this is the most consistent learning that we know of.
ואחר כך חסי משמרס, שבמון כתוב, אז מון אנחנו יודעים מהשומו. Anointing of oil on Yochas, because he's not the oldest son, he's the second son. It says he's the first.
Just start again, don't waste time on regret.
לומדים את הדף אפילו ביום הכיפורים.
It's about the Yomi. And that's something that you should
Even on Motzei Tisha B'Av.
Even while bungee jumping.
If you miss a day, it doesn't mean it's over.
לומדים בכל מקום.
Just start again,
ובכל
don't waste time on
זמן.
regret. 'Cause it's not about
רבותיי, זה לא אדם, זה היוני.
And that's something that
It's not about the daf. It's about the yomi.
All right. Another very, very important thing that I hear from people, I get, I want to say 30 to 40 emails a day, and I read them before shir. And one of the things I hear over and over and over again is that it changed my life. The daf changed my life. The shir changed my life. And I think one of the big reasons is the creating a new habit. Creating a new habit means that you do something for 60 days in a row. It becomes embedded in your bones. It becomes part of you. And Daf Yomi teaches you, people, I say this all the time, I'm the most inconsistent person. I'm still in real estate a little bit. I haven't done real estate in 5 years, but I'm in real estate, yeah? So when I used to do a project, I used to build a house, a hotel, or whatever it is, I bring the whole team, the whole thing, and then all of a sudden I just fizzle out. Every single project, every book I ever read in my life, I usually get 10 pages in, and then I start the next book. This one looks more interesting. And this is the story of my life. But when it came to Daf Yomi, for whatever reason, I built this habit that, B'li Ayin Hara, it's a nice nigla, but I haven't missed a single day of giving the daf, not learning it, giving the daf. In other words, preparing a shir with all the charts and everything. Over 6 years without missing a single day. And it's because it's not a chachma or anything. I didn't do anything special. It's just one of these things that once you get locked in and you do it, you get stuck in it. And it's beautiful to be stuck, even when you don't want to learn and you're tired and you're this and you didn't, whatever the excuse is. I gave a daf at my son's chasana. I gave a daf. Crazy. I had flu 2 weeks ago. You know what it is to learn while you have the flu? It's not fun, but you do it and you just grind right through it. And the idea to build this habit. And once you build this habit, it goes into all sorts of directions that you never even imagined. Health, exercise, Shnai Mikra, Mishnayos, Gashmias, Ruchnias, everything. What I'm trying to tell you is, Rabbi Isai, if you haven't tried the daf, you better try it because it will change your life. It will help you change so many things you have no idea. Here we go. It will change your life. And finally, I'm just going to say this. The mishpacha of MDY, the family, the feeling of belonging. This guy that I'm going to tell you a story about towards the end of this Amud. One of the things that he told me was that when he walked in Borough Park and he saw a magnet that said MDY, I think a lot of you are going to get a little bit of a package today. And in there's going to be a magnet. Put it on your car, even if you don't do the daf, even if you hate the daf, put it on your car anyway, because it might encourage somebody to do the daf. You might be zoicha to get somebody to learn Torah. And when you get another person to learn Torah, you know what happens? You get the schusim of that person. So every word of Torah that he learns, every Baruch Hu Baruch Shemai, every Amen is 1,000 Baruch Hu Baruch Shemais, and every word of Torah is 1,000 Amens. Well, it goes more. Every Amen Yishmirab is 1,000 Amens, and every word of Torah is 613 mitzvahs, and you could do 200 words of Torah per minute. The whole Chavetz Chaim, and all those chosim go to you because you brought that guy to learning. So he sees this magnet on the car, and he says, wow, this is part of the chabur that I'm part of. And it uplifted him. New satellite location, coming to Miami. I'm going to be there, Be'ezer Hashem. I'm traveling. We're doing some traveling. By the way, if anybody knows of somebody that's trying to offload a Gulfstream 5, MDY is looking for a private jet right now. So it's shtickle difficult. I missed my flight this morning. It was a whole thing. We're flying tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., flying to Park City, Utah. That's where my daughter lives. She does kiruv over there. From there, I'm flying to Miami because they have a satellite location. And from there to New York. And here, I just want to show you what you guys could do over here. It's doable. And whoever does this, and whoever's the nakshain, the schusim are unbelievable. Last night I made a siyum at Rabbi Kaf's house in Borough Park. He has 3 apartments on the first level, 20 guests a day from Eretz Yisrael, fully loaded, stocked to the gills with food, all types of food, everything. Meats, cookies, cakes, coffee, avada, everything. And in the basement, he has something called MDY Cave. 20 Hasidic Bocharim come every single night, not once a week, every night, to watch the shir on a screen. He encourages them. He has a little place for them to smoke. Not that I encourage smoking, but some of these Bocharim Nebuch, they smoke. He gives them there's a little smoking room. And he has a mikveh, of course, in there, so they can go to the mikveh. And he just gives them food, and he's mechazik them. You could do that also here. It doesn't have to be for Bocharim. It could be for your friends. You can mechazik the location over here. To get together, to learn B'tzavta Chada, to laugh together, to learn together, to shmooze right before the shir, to shmooze after the shir. It's a whole different level. Bezer Hashem Tzvi is going to do some big things here, I know. He's going to do it for the Hebrew. There's going to be people doing for the English. This is Rabbi Kaf. This is in his dining room, verstehst? All right. This, when I was leaving, it was very nice, very, very emotional. You guys don't have to sing it to me. It's fine. It's mechabed me to do the mezuzah thing. This is Rabbi Kaf. We gave him a Gemara. Beautiful. So, if you're watching, I just want to show you what it looks like in Eretz Yisrael. We did a Melava Malka. I want to say there's a person by the name of Moshe Cohen. He has a famous hall in Bnei Brak. Few halls. What is it called again? Where's Benny? Chazdinomi. Famous Chazdinomi. So he's a big part of the shir. And he made a whole Melava Malka for us. 500 people showed up. Not learners from MDY. They're all learners but they had to belong to a satellite location. We had 500 people from satellite locations. Let me show you what it looks like a satellite location in Eretz Yisrael. This is in Haifa. People get together every night. Over there, it's a little easier because it's live, so it's more geschmack. And I get on, I do live. Here's in Petach Tikva. Here's our base medrash in Ramat Bet Shemesh. This is in Bnei Brak. Moshe Cohen, he rented a special office space just for that. This is in Neve Yaakov. They're unbelievable. They're mamish. And this is what it looks like on a daily basis. All right. Boys, we're going to cut this down. This is the first time I'm doing this because we have a brand new Shas, brand new Masechta, and Meyer Fischel donated the entire Shas. So we're just going to say the MDY official edition, maybe. We'll just do that. Mark, cut out. But for the first day, MDY Shas, the MDY official edition, MDY Shas is sponsored by Meyer and Chai Rivka Fischel, the Masechtas Menachos of the MDY official edition Gemara, is sponsored by the Irani and Levi families. MDY official Shas, Perik Aleph, is sponsored by Lili Nishmas, Simcha Ber David, Ben Avram Moshe, memory of her dear brother, Simcha Belsky, the famous Belsky family, Olav Shalom Shani, Moti Belsky and family. Daf Beis is sponsored by Joel and Rachel Gedalius on the first yard side of Jag Gedalius, Yaakov Ben, Ari Zechron Levrocha. Second sponsor, David Solomon, dedicated memory of Avimori, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv, Zechron Levrocha. Mesachtas sponsor, we have brand new sponsors for Mesachtas Menachos. Understand that each one of these people donated $9,000 to have their name here. We still have openings. We could still put your name in there if you want. Lili Nishmas, my father, Jack Adalius, anonymous. Hatzlach Baruch Ubegashmias. What's the problem? Put it over here. Okay. The Palchik Family Foundation, L'Zeichen Nishmas Harav Agoy, Reb Shlomo Palchik, the Meitzitzer Ilui, something like that, a Talmud of Elozhan, Reb Chaim Brisker, and one of the first Rosh Yeshiva in America. Send the Grossman family, Canvey Island, UK, in honor of Rebelli, who changed my meaning of life. Shkoyach. Multi sponsors, Zayik Simon, Refuah Shlem, Avi Moir, Baruch Miriam, Jimmy Azulai. He's here in the house. Refuah Shlema Esther Bas Luna. Esther Walkenstein, that's how you pronounce it, Luna? Esther Walkenstein, mazel tov to my husband, Kalman Tanel Walkenstein, on his 40th birthday. Anonymous, Brachas B'lidai, Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Leah, V'Yehuda B'Yom Mechava. Anonymous, the Fushleim and Naftali Herz ben Henya Leah, hidden tzaddik in our generation. Anonymous, in memory of Mazel Bat Leah, Besanada, and Hiskia. Innovations LLC, huge thank you to Eli Geller and Spiro for saving our Shabbos experience with Chesed, weekly sponsors, Wasesel Chevra, in memory of our beloved Morid Asur, of Yehuda Kellemer, Zech upon his 50-yard side. Daily sponsors, Yaakov Yagen, in honor of Mark Ashkenazi, thank you for all that you do. The No More Cheetah Man. So I'll explain, when we were on the safari, Moland, he was sitting right in front of me with the green coat. He said, if we see a chase of an animal which is not shaykh, our driver didn't see one that whole year, he'll donate $5,000 or something. How much was it? 1,000. And the next guy said, I'll give 5,000. Cheetah Man said, I'll give 9,000. We call him Cheetah Man is because 5 minutes later, all of us, all 35 of us, were zeicher to see a cheetah chase / Ritzicha, which is the rearest of the rear, and we believe it happened to be there because of the tzedakah. So we call him the Cheetah Man. But he said, I don't want to be called the Cheetah Man anymore, in honor of the real Cheetah Man, Molandi, who started the pledge of $1,000. Here it is, Dagan Samaisa. Meir Kovacs Takin Sham Shishlav, in honor of Yitzi Fried for his dedication to Torah learning and the Shir. Innovations LLC, in honor of Rebellion, Rebbe Stefansky, for showing us how to love our children as a schus for Akiva Simcha ben Fega and Rivka Yehudis Bas Yafa Chaya. Should I tell you the story now? I mean, how long are we into the shir already? I don't have a clock here. 37 minutes? No. How many? What are we? Avrami, how long are we into it? Huh? I can't hear. 15? We have plenty of time to schmooze. No, it's not 15 minutes. There's no way. I'll say the story a different time. Arya Blau, Jamie Azulai, Tzvi Pinzel, and Meir Planka, on behalf of the MDY Toronto Chabura, thank you, Rebellion, the MDY team, for coming to be mechazik the Toronto community. Shkoyach to you guys. MDY Art, Anonymous. Yosef ben Chayes Sarah for Parnasa Berevach. Refuah Shlema Yonatan Eitan ben Beshav Bracha. Refuah Shlema Mordechai ben Esther. Refuah Hayela Daniel Zev ben Ayel Esther. Are we in 30 minutes? Rus Bas Mordechai? Rus Bas Mordechai. I didn't say that. Okay. Rabbi Isai, when they made the siyum on Sechtes Zvachim in the Knessia G'dayla in Tofresh Peites, Rabbi Shapiro got up and he said, enough of the Zvachim, because it was just that period of time where there Zimach Shemam came into Hebron and they slaughtered, I don't remember, they killed Akish Hashem, maybe 80. Anybody remember the number? A lot of Yidden died that day. And he said, Rebbeinu Shalom, enough of the Zvachim, give us Menachos, give us a Menucha. We had an unbelievable time learning Zvachim. A lot of people appreciated Zvachim. I said this when I saw Ari Chaimowitz. He has a famous podcast, What a Day. And he walked into the hotel lobby, and there's a guy, Shia Weisberg, spent months of his life recreating the Mizbeach. Massive Mizbeach. Wider than this table, with smoke and fire. And he recreated the Mizbeach Hazov. And Ari Chaimotz comes in, he says, this is the Mizbeach Hazov, and this is the Mizbeach Achitzon, and this is the Kiyar, this is the Muchni. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, it penetrates. Yes, we go fast, Daf Yomi. But Lamais, the Musagim, the Hichap, this is the Shulchan, this is the Lechem Aponim, this is the Levaina. I was moved, without flinching, without stuttering. He said it. And that's what Daf Yomi does. You might not understand it right away, but you chazer over and you see it again, this musag, that musag, and it seeps into your neshama. Mesechus Menachos is very, very similar. It's part of Kachim. It's very, very similar to Zvachim. In fact, the first Mishnah of Menachos is a copy of the first Mishnah of Zvachim. The difference is that in Zvachim, we're talking about animals, a carbon animal. In Menachos, we're talking about a flour carbon. It's a carbon. Same way. But one is bread, flour, and the other one is an animal. So it says the Heilige Mishnah, Kol ha-menachos shenikmitzu sheloi l'shmon ksheros. If you remember, if you recall, and if you don't recall, we're doing Chazara. When a Kayan, he brings a mincha for the Yisrael, Yiddishkeit is in the head. Everything's about the kavana, about the machshava. You have to have lishma. You have to realize what you're bringing. And there's different types of menachos. Here's some of the stuff that our artists put together. Different breads. There's lechem apanim. There's shtei alechem. Lechem apanim is what we have in the shulchan every week. 12 breads. Shtei alechem is on Shavuos. But let's focus on the two top left ones. You have minchas marcheshes and minchas machvas. They're both very similar. Same ingredients. In fact, they have the same exact ingredients. But one is a little softer than the other, and it's because it's made in a deeper dish, like a deep dish pizza. The other one is a flat pizza. And because it's flat, the oil burns out quicker, so the mincha is harder. Two different menachos. So, if the kohen thinks to himself that he's bringing a minchas machvas, but in fact it's a minchas marcheshes, he messed up completely. He messed up. And therefore, the owner must bring another mincha. But what do you do with the mincha that he messed up with? What you do is, you continue going weiter. You bring it. The owner is going to have to bring another one. We had the same exact halacha when it came to korbanos. If the kohen messes up, he thinks he's bringing a shlomim instead of a noila, you continue. But the owner over there is going to cost him a lot more. Instead of $6, he's going to have to bring something that costs $500, another carbon. But just like in Zvachim, there was an exception to the rule. If a carbon chatas is messed up, or a carbon pesach, only two, then you take the carbon and you throw it out in the garbage. That is special garbage in the Beis HaMikdash. It's not literally a garbage. You burn it somewhere, but it doesn't continue. You don't continue. And the same thing by a mincha. Certain menachos, if you mess up, throw it out. You toss it. Ella shalei olu lebalim l'shem chayva. The Gemara is going to address this word ella. What it should say is, v'loi olu lebalim l'shem chayva. The bailam, the owner, wasn't yaitza. He has to bring another carbon, another mincha. The word ella, it's a curious word here. What does it do in here? Ella. Ella means only. But, v'loi olu. So we'll see in the Gemara. Chutz, there are two exceptions. Just like we had by Zvachim, we have two exceptions there. Chutz minchas choitei u'minchas knois. When a person sins, there's a way to remember what kind of sins. Shvat. Shin, Beis, Tes. Those are the three sins. Shin stands for Shmias Kol. Basically, if you hear of an eidos and you don't come by, you swear that you don't know about it. Or bitui, shwas bitui with beis, is that you swear falsely. And the tes stands for, anybody want to guess? Who said? Tuma. Very good. Tuma. You're not allowed to bring a carbon when you're tamei, or the carbon is tamei. For that, you have to bring a carbon. Now, if you can't afford the carbon, what do? If you're very poor, you could get away without bringing a $500 animal. You could bring something made out of flour. Now, another thing that I remember is that a carbon, minchas chatos, a chaita, there's no oil. No oil. How do you remember that? Because Mendy, from the English here, the guy that goes weiter, we'll know him as Mr. Weiter. He asked, and he says, Choyte Niskar, a guy that sins, he's going to benefit, he doesn't have to pay money. And in fact, it's the opposite, because he did a chet, so we treat him like that. It's like, you're going to bring a very cheap kind of carbon. You're not going to be able to honor the Rebbeinu Shalom with a beautiful carbon, just a flour carbon, no oil. Uminchas knois. When a husband suspects his wife of being misyach with another man, he warns her. He says, don't have yichud with another man. She doesn't listen. So he brings her to the Beis HaMikdash. We all know the Saita. There's a whole process, a very long process. And part of the process is she has to bring a mincha. And Zog the Gemara. We're still in the Mishnah. Minchas choyto minchas knois shekmotzim shloi lishma. So the kmitza, we know, I'll show you a little bit of a video here. Here we go. You guys ready? Check this out. Brand new for today. Of some of the process of a type of a mincha. Nisaran. Now first you pour oil on the bottom. There's 3 oils we're going to see. Then you put the flour, then you put oil on top. Then you do blila, mix it in good. Then you break it up into pieces. What's this for? If I cry? Are you saying I need to blow my nose? Okay. Stop. All of a sudden I need tissues. I do whatever Benny tells me to do. That's it. All right. Next. Minchas choytu minchas knois. Oh, that's the levaina. I forgot. Levaina. We're middle still. So you add levaina. And now he's going to move the levaina to the side. Where's the kmitza? That's not the kmitza. Oh, he's doing it like that. Okay. You put it in another kli. You see another kli. Very good. And you put salt. Great. And then you put that onto the flame. Look how the fire is going to get larger over here. It's great. Mamish, like real life. And then the leftovers called shirayim, and you get to eat that. You should have seen yesterday at the kaf house. So I had a piece of herring, and all of a sudden a guy comes and grabs this little piece that I left over on the plate. They're like, whoa, what are you doing? He says, shirayim from the Rebbe. Okay. It wasn't funny when they gave me a glass of wine and I drank a little bit. I was thinking, oh, there's a schmack of wine. Before I know it, look around, it's gone. Emes, gone. So, minchas choytu minchas knois shekmotzen shaloi lishman. You go like this. You stick your hand in this way, straight in. Grab 3 fingers worth. You break it off with your thumb and your pinky. Make sure it's exactly 3. It's very difficult, the Gemara says, to do. And that's your kmitza. That's what goes on the mizbeach, this amount. The rest is for the kohanim to eat. But if you thought to yourself that it's not a minchas choyte, it's a minchas nedava, it's not a minchas knois, it's a minchas choyte, whatever, you messed up the type. When you did the kmitza, it's shaloi lishma. Nosam beklivi hilech. So what the Mishnah is saying is, if you were with us for Zvachim, you know, and even if you weren't Zvachim, I think most people know that there's 4 avodos when it comes to a carbon. What are the 4 different things that you do that a kohen does? He does shchita. He does Kabbalah. After you shecht, you have to receive the blood in a kli. After that, what do you do? Rabbi said, what do you do? Halacha, you walk it to where? To the Mizbeach. And then you spray it onto the Mizbeach. Those are the 4. Corresponding to those 4, we have also 4 avodas when it comes to the mincha. The shechita by mincha is the kmitza. The Kabbalah is to put it into the second kli, like you saw. It's a kli shar, it's made out of gold. Molandi told me that his father once bought a becher, gold becher, in the 80s, $13,000 American. And then his brother, I don't know why they let the brother bring it to the Shabbos table, but of course, he dropped it. Gone. You know, it costs like $1,000 to fix the dent. It's made out of, it's gold. The klisharis. We're not holding it on the base yet. What are you doing? I don't know what's worse, the guy playing on his cell phone on WhatsApp, or you learning another Masechta on Amud Beis over there. I see everything. Hello? The videos. Eon. So I'll talk a little lower, not to disturb the shkoilo. Wow, that was unbelievable. Okay, anyway. So, Nosam Bekli. He did the Kabbalah in the Kli. I'm joking. Go weiter. You can go weiter. Vihilach. And he moved it. He walked towards the Mizbech. What is that called? Hilacha. Vihiktir. If in one of these 4 avodas he had the wrong machshava, he could ruin it in any one of the 4. Shaloi l'shman, he thought it was another type of mincha. Oy l'shman v'shaloi l'shman. Or he started off good. He said this is a minchas chayte, and then he flipped it to a minchas knois. Shaloi l'shman. Oy shaloi l'shman. He started off bad, and then he flipped it to good. Psulois. Rashi just asked a very simple question. What's the chiddush? If you start off bad, of course it's not good. You can't take something that's bad and make it good. I hear a chiddush, if you start off good and then you messed up, okay, that's a chiddush. You start off bad. So Rashi says beautifully, he says, I would think, he says, you think, oh, if you start off good and then you went bad, that's bad. Why? The toughest Lashon Achra. Maybe there's a whole concept in Shas, Tfois Lashon Achra, and we go by the last thing that you do, the first thing. So I would think, oh, if you start off bad, but then you realized your mistake and you went to good, so it's good. You go by the whatever you did last. A lot of times in Shtaris and in Lashonis and Shas, it goes by the last Lashon. So maybe also by a Maisa. It says no, Kamash Malon, that even if you start good and if you start bad and you went good, it's still bad. Keitzad Lishman and B'Shalei Lishman. This is simple stuff. What does it mean? You start off good and bad. You started off, l'shem minchas chayta, you wanted a minchas chayta, l'shem minchas ndava, and then you went to the mincha ndava. Shaloi l'shman l'shman, how does you start off bad and then you went to good? L'shem minchas ndava, you went bad, it's not a minchas ndava, it's a minchas chayta, but you thought it was a minchas ndava to begin with, then you went to minchas chayta. Great. Ask the Gemara, lama li lemisna ella. Why do I need the word ella? Only. How does the word only start? Just say, listening, but like, if the kohen messes up, the owner has to bring another one. So says the Gemara Kamashmalan. This is already explained in the beginning of the Mishnah. The owner is not going to get a kapara from this one. But you continue doing what you need to do. Just because you messed up in the beginning doesn't mean you should continue messing up. You messed up once. Go back to what you were supposed to do. It was supposed to be a minchas chayte. You thought it's a minchas ndava. Now you figured it out. Go back to minchas chayte. I'm in a minchas chayte now. Continue doing it. The owner will bring another one. You just think that it's a minchas chayte. Kid Rava. Rava says, Dama Rava, Rava says that if it was a carbon, it was a oila, and you shechted it thinking that it's a shlomim, let's say. So don't say, oh, it's a shlomim, forget it, I messed up, so let's continue with the mess up. No. when you sprinkle the blood on the mizbeach, you say to yourself, this is an oila. How does he know this? Either it's pure logic, or he has a pasuk. He has a svara how just because he made a mistake, he should continue with his mistake. So our boys say, I got to tell you this. One of the most emotional stories that I heard over Shabbos, and I heard a lot of stories. A lot of people come to me, this story, that story. Chassidish guy, beard up to here, not stam. Payas. I haven't been to shul in 5 years, even on Yom Kippur. But since I started doing a shir, I haven't missed a single tefillah in over a year. Mincha, Ma'ariv during the weekday. His wife, him, crying, tears, the whole thing. This was an unbelievable story. He said it over to a few people sitting over here in this table. Chassidish Yingaman, married, abused as a child, decided one day that said he had enough with life. He's checking out. He's going to see what Gan Eden looks like. He set aside a bunch of pills. Thing is that he's part of the shir. He said, everybody, so I'm just going to watch one more shir and then I'm going. I'm out of here. Crying as he's saying the story. And he watched the shir, and I must have said some sort of joke in the beginning, and he started laughing. It's not a geschmack to kill yourself while you're laughing. So he didn't, and then he started crying, and the whole zach. He went through all the things. He gave him dopamine, he said, and he came back to himself, and he didn't take his own life, Baruch Hashem, and he's with us today. He says, the shir didn't change my life, it gave me life. But he said like this. He said, you once said in shir, he says, I wasn't religious at the time. And I said once in shir, I got to repeat this because it made such an impact on him. I want the Olam to know this. There are people out there that don't know this Yisoid, so I got to say it. It's a Pashut Yisoid. And I told it, since then I told it to a lot of Bochum that are struggling with Yiddishkeit, and they were shocked. You could tell it to people. If you see a guy out there, tell it to him. It's a big Yisoid. Just because, let's say a person was Mechal Shabbos in the morning, he smoked a cigarette on Shabbos, doesn't mean that Shabbos is over and that you should continue smoking. I already smoked, I already Mechal Shabbos, so that's it, it's over. No. You messed up in the morning, and now from that point on, you keep Shabbos. If a person has a taiva and he does something wrong, just because he messed up doesn't mean that the rest of the day. If a person eats treif, he ate treif in the morning, he was in an airport, he was starving, he saw some geschmack of food in a restaurant, he messed up. So that's why you should eat treif in the evening also. He messed up. People don't realize, they think it's all or nothing, especially on Shabbos. This Shabbos, Friday night, I messed up, I drove. Okay. I promise you the Rebbeinu Shalom would love you if you say, listen, I messed up, but from here on I'm doing tshuva. I'm gonna keep Shabbos from here on out. These Bochum didn't know it. They said, really? I said, yeah. It's beautiful to Rebbeinu Shalom. He said, that's what brought him back. This he saw, because he said, you know what? I messed up on Shabbos. I think it was smoking, whatever it was. But I could keep at least an hour of Shabbos. So keep an hour. That hour, I don't touch a cigarette. Good. Next week he came, and it was an hour and a half. Like this, he built it up. Not the attitude of all or nothing. And this is Mamish, this is Gemara right over here. It says, it's a svara, it's common sense. Mishum de mishani, but because a person messed up, kol hani l'shani b'avenezel, that's why you should continue with your mistake. So you messed up. You might have to pay a little bit, a knas, because you messed up. You'll have to bring another carbon. But don't continue with your mistake. You hear this aside. Tell people. They need to know this. Just because you watch one bad thing on the internet doesn't mean you continue watching the whole night. What? You messed up once. You go weiter. Whatever it is. Whatever your taiva is, whatever your thing is. Remember this aside. And some people say it's a pasuk. It says, Moitzah sefosecha tishmar v'asisa kasher nodarta l'Hashem elikecha nedava. We have a big problem with this pasuk. So first of all, this is Givaldik. I just realized. Last year at the Shabbaton, I got up. on a chair, and I said, Rabbi Isai, I really want my son to learn Masechta Sanhedrin. 2 sons. And I need the Olam to chip in something. They're not going for the $1,000. I got spoiled kids, you know what I'm saying? Official was promising $1,000 for everybody that does Masechta Sanhedrin. It's not working for $1,000. So the Olam chipped in. One son, $10,000 to finish Sanhedrin. My Bechor, $20,000. Givaldik, $20,000. You asking for $20,000? Yeah, for $20,000 I'll do it. For $10,000, yeah, $10,000. Guess what? The guy that got the $10,000, he dropped out after 10 days. It wasn't enough for him. I don't know what. But the guy that got 20, he's still doing the daf till today, Baruch Hashem, without getting paid. Yes. So I mentioned on the Shabbaton yesterday, whatever. I said, if you promise, you have to pay. It's better not to promise than to promise and not pay. A guy writes me a text. He goes, oops, I'm one of the guys. It ended up that Yossi paid the whole 20,000 at that. Not the whole, but whatever, let's say 10. Came out of his pocket, I think. Somebody. But this guy, I'm not making this up. He goes, he's a great guy, this guy. People push to forget. They promise on Shabbos and then they forget. That's why I don't promise on Shabbos. Not because I'm cheap. A little bit of both. So, no, because the Vilna Gaon says you're not allowed to say an amount. I'm a gronik. No amounts. Which, of course, is the famous Maisa that I said over. I was in Deal, New Jersey. You're not going to, every aliyah there. Bavur. Yiten, how much? $50,000 לבית כנסת, $50,000 library, $150 this for Revi on Parshas Lech Lecha. 50, it's not chazak, nothing. $62,000 for this, and then I'm sitting there. Please don't call me up, please. Yeah, moy, the Magid. I get up there. Misha Berachah Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov. בעבור שייתן נדבה. מה זה? מה זה נדבה? Just say it. Okay, נדבה. Kitzer, I sent them $18 later. And then I got a letter from somebody. He says, you know, from all those people that donated, you were the #1 giver from the whole Shabbos. No, I'm kidding. It's half a joke. Fine. Zog the Gemara. So, here's the problem. Anybody that's part of MDY knows this because we have something silly to remember. What's the difference between a neder and a nedava? Anybody that doesn't do the daf, know the difference? Anybody? That doesn't do the daf. Anybody that does the daf, know? In the whole room, anybody know? Very good. Zoo. Who said that? You know that? What's your name? Yossi. That's what I heard. How do you know? So what's what? You know how to remember it? Dove and zoo. Where does a bear belong? In a zoo. So that's how we remember. Seriously, this is how I'll show you in a second. A neder means harei olai. In general, I'm going to bring a carbon. If this one dies, I have to bring another one. Nedava is zu. Only this one. If this one dies, so how do you remember? Because in the middle of the word nedava, there's dalid vez, which is a dove, which is a beer. Where does a beer belong? In a zoo. So nedava, here we go. Let me see if I can find it. Otazai. Dove, zu. Dove is harei zu. This one, right over here. The problem is that in the same pasuk it says both words. It says nadarta nedava. So the Gemara says nedava nederhu. Karli neder, karli nedava. You're calling it both. Ella, pshat is im kemosh nedarta sisa yin neder. If you do what you're supposed to do, You say that it's a minchas choyte, let's say, and it's a choyte, great, then you're yoitza. Vim lav, you're nedava, but if not, it's a nedava, and then you have to bring another one. Tav bezom and bez. Huh? What are you supposed to say now? Gewaldig. Unedava mishar lishanuye, and if it's a nedava, you're not allowed to change things around. And with that, we go to our sponsors. Let's see who's sponsoring today. Turning the daf, it's the same ones, Adar Global, special experts in international payments, Encore Healthcare, L'schus Refuah Shlema L'Yeled Michol Ben Shalom L'schus Hatzlacha L'Kol Klal Yisrael. What's this? In Tivot. Modin Lit. Where's this? This was live. Oh, Rabbis, you're not going to believe this. Because I missed my flight today, because we don't have a Gulfstream yet. So, I got off the plane, and the Chevra, Meir Planka, Meir Blau, and the Chevra, they got us a room in the Marriott to give a shir. There is no price to give a shir and to do it so that nobody waits. 10 people came, $1,000 for the room. You hear this? $1,000. That's how much they took from us. But it was kedai. It was worth every minute. I gave 2 shiurim there, 2 Hebrew shiurim. But as I was giving it, these guys were watching live at their location in Rechasim, you said? And you could see, this is the same chart I showed you before of the milas and the chesronis of the daf. I was in that hotel conference room. Zog the Gemara. Where are we holding time-wise, Mark? We'll go weiter. An hour already? So we have to do this whole Amud in 3 minutes. Okay, great. Anybody that does the daf knows that Amud Beis is much easier always. The way they designed the Gemara, Amud Beis is always easier than Amud Aleph. It's just a klal gadol. If a haraya goes much quicker and it's faster, and you cannot do it on 1.5 speed. Trust me, if you're going to do it on 1.5 speed, it's like 4 speed. So here we go. Le'mas isn't like Reb Shimon. Our Mishnah must be not going like Reb Shimon by Yochai. This is how Reb Shimon Oimer. Reb Shimon says, if you mess up on your mincha, instead of thinking that it's a minchas choyde, you think it's a nedava, ksherois, it's kosher, ve'olu lebalim l'shem choyva. By the way, I just noticed now, it doesn't say the word elo over here. It doesn't say elo olu lebalim. It says ve'olu, mamish like the Gemara is asking, why doesn't it say ve'loy olu? It always says ve'olu. It works. A guy doesn't have to bring another carbon. That's mamish the opposite of what we said in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says it doesn't work for the owner. And I'll tell you why, says the Gemara, because a carbon is different. Actions speak louder than words. If I'm making a thin mincha, obviously I'm not making a thick one. So I could say thick, thick, thick all I want, but it's thin. It's hard like a rock. I could say it's soft. It doesn't matter. So what I say is nothing when my action is different than my words. I'm not going to listen to my words. If it's dry, like a boxer, I could say blue or whatever, or the opposite. It's obvious that I try to do a chareva. Don't bring me a raya from korbanos. Over there, shchidachas lekulon, zrigunachas lekulon. When you shech the oil, it's the same thing as shechting shlamim. So there's no raya. What are you shechting? V'kabalachas lekulon, the same thing with kabbalah and eilacha, etc. Says Gemara, so we have a contradiction between Reb Shimon Bar Yochai and our Mishnah. Says Gemara, perhaps when a person doesn't use the word mincha, he just says machvas, marcheshes. That's different. When a person says, I'm making a minchas machvas, he sticks the word mincha in. So then he ruined it. Instead of minchas marcheshes. Masnisin mincha l'shum mincha. The reason why it doesn't work in our Mishnah is because he made a kavanah. He said, I'm doing a mincha, a different type of mincha. That's why it's possible. You say, I'm making a marcheshes instead of a machvas. That's not the end of the world. El Rabba v'Rova ma'ikla meimar. We're going to see Rabba and Rova in a second. V'chiteima k'tikom shani Rabba. Perhaps like Rabba answers. That what? There's a difference, another nafkamina, and perhaps that's Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is talking about one thing, and our Mishnah is talking about another thing. Now what? Kan, he answers over there something else that we'll see later. Kan b'shini kodesh, kan b'shini bailam. When a person, here, check this out. Yoshi came off a plane. You know how it is when you fly. I know how it is. The young guys don't know. The kohen, he can mess up by thinking, instead of the guy on the right, the guy on the left. Instead of Reuven, he did Shimon. That's a big mess up. It's different than thinking about two different types of korbanos. The left, he said it's a nedava instead of a chayta. Okay, nish gefährlich, not the end of the world. That Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, you're yoytzei. When you mess up the owner, that's a problem. Our Mishnah is talking about changing a change in ownership. Change in ownership, that's no good. That ruins it. How could you say such a pshat in our Mishnah? It says mefurish diktani ketzal shmam shel shmon. That's what the Gemara says. It can't be the pshat. It says mefurish in our Mishnah. We're talking about what's the difference. According to you, it should say instead of Reuven, it said Shimon. No, that's not what it says in our Mishnah. The Mishnah says mefurish that the problem is that you changed the designation of the mincha. This instead of a chayte, it's a nedava. It doesn't say anything about Reuven and Shimon. Maybe okay, so we'll go a different route. We'll go with Rava, not Rabba. Person messed up. He thought that he's bringing a carbon for a mincha for a carbon instead of a mincha for a mincha. Again, you can't say that pshat. When a person messes up and he does mincha for a carbon, that's no good, says Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. I'm sorry, our Mishnah says it's no good. But Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is talking about a mincha, so that's okay. Again, it doesn't fit into our Mishnah. Why? What's the mashal of the Mishnah? He didn't bring it for a carbon, he brought it for a different type of mincha. Like we said before, we started off the sugya. We can't answer the Gemara like Rabba and Rava. Okay. However, Urama the Reb Shimon, not the Reb Shimon. But we do have a contradiction between Reb Shimon Bar Yochai himself. The San Reb Shimon Oimer. What does Reb Shimon Bar Yochai say? That if you mess up on the type of mincha, it works for the owner. We have a brayso that says, it says in the pasuk regarding a mincha, talking about a mincha, it says a mincha is like a chatas, like a asham. Really? A mincha is like a chatas, like a asham. In what way? Yesh mem kachatas, yesh mem ka'asham. Boys, I got to take a drink here from this glass because my official. Again, the Hasidim, they don't like when people are Litvish. They want to change the whole world to Hasidim. So he bought me this silver cup, a Rebbe's cup, with a silver top, and I'm going to have to drink from it. It's not nice. He bought me a gift. And I said as a joke, and I hope nobody takes it seriously, next thing is they're going to buy me one of those umbrellas with the silver top, you know what I'm talking about? So I should walk like this in the street. A shtekin. What is it called? It's not a shtekin. A shtekin is what my Rebbe gave me petch with. This is a Rebbe's shtekin, a zilbene shtekin. Yo. But my official is my official, so I'm going to have a Rebbe's glass now. He says, "In anis with makom ashiris, don't ask." Okay, great. I'm enjoying this. This is gewaldic. It's your... No, it comes with the glass cup also, inside the silver. It's a whole massive. I'm just nervous because all these guests, they come to schmooze with me 2-3 times a week. They knock the glass over, the cup over onto the floor. It's a whole mess. We bring out the machine. So if that falls on the floor, it's going to be worse than the Molandi's Becher. Sometimes the mincha is like a chat, sometimes like a asham. By the way, Mark, how many minutes since you said an hour? I'm just curious because we did a half Ahmed now in 3 minutes. I'm telling you, it's much easier. Ahmed Bey is always easier. There's less stories, less mashalim. I don't know, it just goes. Yeshmim Kechatas, poor Rosh Koil hasn't learned the word since I called him out. Yeshmim Kechatas, Yeshmim Kasham. Yeshmim Kechatas, Yeshmim Kasham. Mincha is choy da'arei Kechatas, Sometimes a mincha is like a chatas. We know the first Mishnah of Zvachim that if you mess up on a chatas, that's it, toss it out. So the same thing by a minchas choite, if you mess up, toss it. You had the wrong intent while you were doing the kmitza, putting your hand in. Pasul, psula kechatas. Now, how is a mincha similar to asham? Minchas nedava areiki asham. Oh, if I'm bringing a voluntary mincha, what's about? I want to give something beautiful to the Rebbeinu Shalom, but I pasha can't afford it. So I bring a bag of flour to the Beis Hamikdash. That's like a asham. If the kohen messes up on the kmitza, he puts his hand in and he thinks, oh, it's not a nedava, it's a minchas choita. Ksheiro. Now it's kosher. The problem is that we just read here that according to Reb Shimon, it doesn't work. And Reb Shimon says that if you mess up, it does work. He said it's like a chatas. If you mess up on the chatas, Reb Shimon is mechulek on two things. He holds that even by a chatas, if you mess up, you continue to bring it. It's good. And over here we just read in the Brisa that if you mess up on a chatas, it's no good. Omer Rabbo, we have to reconcile this. When you mess up in the type of carbon, the type of mincha, that's kosher. That's where Reb Shimon was saying it's kosher. Why? Because the mais is moichiach. What's mais moichiach? I could tell from what you're doing that you didn't really mean to say that. Sometimes, you say the wrong, you call your kid, anybody that has boys, you go from the top, you keep going, Aaron, Kiwi, Lozi, You know what I'm talking about? You don't mean to say it. So the guy's in front of you, the mais is moichiach, right? When your kid is in front of you, you call him the wrong name. You didn't mean to call him that. It just came out of your mouth. When you're talking about a minchas marcheshes and you call it a minchas whatever, you didn't mean that. It's in front of you. That's when it's kodesh. Kamishin and bailam. But when there's another owner, you're calling it a Reuven instead of Shimon. That is possible. Because over here you can't prove what you meant and what you didn't mean. That was in your machshava in your head. Amalei Abai. Bichti machshava the pasuk Rachmana Keshi. Says Abai, what difference does it make? I'm learning this from a limud in the Torah. When it comes to a limud, you can't start making enough keminas. Mali shinu kodesh, mali shinu bailam. If you mess up, you mess up. This is logic. It's not a limud in the Torah. Why would Reb Shimon do logic? The Reb Shimon dorish time of the Kro. I was just thinking, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but a lot of Hasidim, they're very into Reb Shimon Bar. By them, like Boimer is mamish like maybe the holiest yont of the year by a lot of Hasidim. It could be like on the same level as Simchas Torah, as Yom Kippur. And Hasidim, they always look at the Pnimis HaTorah. What's going on behind the scenes? Why did Rebbeinu Shalom say this? Why that? And here, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, throughout Shas, he's dorish time of the Kra. Like when you take a mashkin from somebody, you have to give it back every night. So Reb Shimon starts saying, well, it depends. The Torah says almana, not almana. He starts going into the reasoning behind it. So there also, there's reasons. You have to know the svara, and sometimes when the svara doesn't work, so what if the Torah said it? The Torah didn't mean it. You could see what the person's machshava was by the action that he's taking. And since he's making a thick mincha, that's what he meant to do. So don't tell me he said a thin one. He made a thick one. Says Gemara, the Reb Shimon dorish time of the Kra, machshava d'lo minkra. Oh, machshava d'lo minkra pasuk Rachmana. When you can't tell what he was doing, what he didn't do, that's possible. Machshava d'lo minkra le pasuk Rachmana. But a machshava, how much time do we have, Mark? How come I don't have a clock here? It says 1:22. Okay, so that's good for the first. Do we have time for notes? Hold on, I'm at the end now. 57. Are you serious? Okay, I have to. First of all, I have to say like this. Kakal gave us a very large donation for our Shabbaton, so I want to thank Kakal. And over here we have Michael Ben Shitrit in honor of my father, Jack Ben Shitrit, for attending the shir in person. He said Shalom Aleichem to me twice. Shalom Aleichem, and Michael's brother is there as well. A very, very big part of the daf in Miami. And I heard that your father, Michael's father, Jack, is a very big part. How long have you been doing the daf with me? 4 or 5 years. You want to go on the cruise with us? Be'ezer Hashem. Daddy and Mommy Katz, in honor of Chaim Aaron Katz from Gateshead, finishing Shas today. 7.5 years with Rebelli. Unbelievable. That's a tremendous chizuk. 7.5 years. It's very rare to have people that finish Shas. So this is the third person that wrote in. Avi Kamiansky did a Sima Shas with us, with MDY, at the Shabbaton. A lot of people, they start strong, and even if they're going stark, they go to another shir middle, they drop off, they start doing Eon. I don't know what they do. 7.5 years is a long time. So Yishkoyach, beautiful. Keep on going, keep on steiging. I do want to mention that I went to visit Avi Spyro, right? That's how you say the last name? He has ALS. He watches the shir. MS. He basically is in bed and he could speak. I heard a beautiful, he said, Divrei Torah to me. He watches the shir twice a day. He knows Masechtas Megillah Bal Peh. He learns and learns. He spends his day learning Torah. I believe his son is here, Akiva Spyro, somewhere. He came with us. So it was it was unbelievable to see him in Mamish. We were all crying. He had tears in his eyes. He does the shir twice a day, the unedited version and the edited version. So, Baruch should give him a lot of koiches, give the family koiches. Goldstein and Graber and Schnell families, for the merit of a refuah shlema for Gila Bracha Bas Michal Ilana and Pini Osreicher Lezech Nishma Zissel Bas Yeshua Osreicher Shalom Yortzei Chov Gimel Teves Yisrael Mordechai Bailush, the Tzaddik Reb Eli. Thanks for inspiring the Bachrim to come after a full day of learning. Yes, it's tremendous that the Bachrim, they come every day after learning, and they could do who knows what. They could, I don't know, play video games. And they come and they learn Torah every single day. Tremendous. Joseph Lowy, in honor of Nachman Seltz's brown horse with a white stripe. Yours truly, Remy. Those who know. Eli Cohen, for my mother, Perel Bas Rivka. By the way, I'm very happy that I didn't read all of these before this year. It's like crazy amount of sponsors. For my mother, Perel Bas Rivka, Mrs. Perel Cohen from Toronto. This is that room that cost us $1,000 worth every penny. There's no limit to how much we spend to make Torah enjoyable. It actually, by the way, our shir costs us, people don't know this, but our shir costs over $2.5 million a year to produce. And that's what we do for Torah to be Geshmak. You know what? Let me just make sure that I didn't leave off any Geshmak videos here. Okay, tomorrow will be more Geshmak because Yoshi's back and all our artists are back in Eretz Yisrael. Yishkoyach for having me. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.